Hi, my name is Marilyn Murray. I am a Northeast State Community College student. I'm also in the honors program. Tonight, we have a wonderful interview lined up. And Case, would you please introduce yourself to us?
Hey, my name is Case Elledge. I went to Virginia Highlands Community College and I transferred to East Tennessee State University. And I currently work in the service industry at Bloom Cafe in Bristol. And I'm also an artist. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. I love Bloom. I've actually been there before. It's wonderful. Um, so how many years have you spent working in the service industry, and what
um,
has that work looked like for you?
I've been in the industry almost 19 years, which is a a long time. And I started out in like fast food and like pizza places when I was in high school. And when I got into my right before I turned 20, I took a job as a bar back, which is kind of like an assistant for a bartender. And so I was kind of able to get into the bar industry. And I've bartended here in Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee, in Asheville, North Carolina, and on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Um, and then I would say in the past 6 years, I've been able to move more into management positions in the service industry.
That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
This is going to kind of lead me. It's going to lead me to my next question for you. For people who've not worked in the service industry, let's say as a waiter or a bar back, what are some common misconceptions that people may have?
Um, I think maybe one of the misconceptions people have that people that work in the service industry are just lazy because they haven't gone on to find a real job, as people like to put it. Um, and another misconception is that people in the service industry don't deserve a living wage because it's not considered a skilled industry, which just isn't true.
So, what should people know about SC? Know that your experience suggests that they don't. What do people do? What do they need to know?
Um, I think they just need to know that, you know, people in the service industry are there to provide a service that you don't particularly want to do for yourself that day. Um, and really just to show compassion and kindness. It goes a long way. People in the service industry are typically overworked and uninsured. And um, I think just to keep that in mind, that they're actually people, which I think people forget sometimes because they're in a hurry or they're hungry or something.
Yeah, I've worked before in the service industry, and then I tended to get the same kind of reaction from people, and it's a hard job, period, any way you look at it. And it's hard sometimes because of the people that you're trying to take care of. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The next question is, in the future, students may want to know what it's like to work in the service industry during a pandemic. Can you speak on your experience for that?
Oh, Lord. It has been really hard. It was really uncertain and scary at first when the pandemic first hit. A lot of people in the service industry are living paycheck to paycheck. And so I just started like buying rice and beans and stuff that I could put in my kitchen that was shelf stable, because I didn't know what was going to happen. I did think that it was going to get shut down before it did. Like before we knew it was going to, I thought that was coming. And so I was trying to like gather food and supplies and stuff for my apartment at the time, and imagine how I was going to make it without an income. And then, Bloom closed, and our employees were able to go on unemployment. And I didn't know that that was going to happen. And M. Fairs, the owner of Bloom, she helped us all get on unemployment, and we had a good support system with each other. But I was on some other service industry like Facebook groups, and other restaurants kind of just shut down, and their employees were just kind of thrown out there. And if they didn't know how to sign up, they had to try to find help wherever they could. So I felt lucky in that aspect. And the whole industry as a whole kind of did group together, and there were people on the Facebook group. It was Tri-Cities hospitality workers, and they were helping each other. So we kind of like all did everything we could to help people get supplement their income however they could if their job closed. And then shut down, we were closed for almost 7 or 8 months. And so it was great to have time off work, but it was terrifying because at any moment, I didn't know if I was going to get sick, or my loved ones were going to get sick, or my community was going to, go take a turn for the worse. And so it was nice to have time off, but at the same time, it was just stressful the whole time. And like the money situation was so stressful because so many different things were happening politically that we didn't know if the unemployment would keep happening and it could stop at any moment. And when it did run out, Bloom reopened. And then that was a whole new set of hardships. Working in the pandemic is unlike anything I've ever seen. We've had to fight people, kind of on the daily at the beginning about wearing masks. We have a strict mask policy, and there are also so many people in the community that we're so thankful that we had a policy and we're taking it safe, because we're on the Tennessee side and we didn't necessarily have a state restriction. So it was just our personal business restriction. And so, yes, it was hard to deal with some people, but there were so many more people that were thankful in the community to have somewhere safe to try to come. And the biggest thing is pandemic fatigue. Working 2 days can feel like a whole month sometimes, especially at the beginning of when we reopened, which was in October of 2020. Now we're into, late spring of 2021. So we've been at it for half a year now, and pandemic fatigue is still a thing. It just seems like everything's a little bit harder. And now there's a huge boom. People are getting vaccinated, which is great. Vaccinations are open to everyone, or more people now that are above the age of 16. And everyone is wanting to come out to eat at once. And so across the industry right now, we're seeing like a lot of places are understaffed compared to normal, and their staff is a little overworked compared to normal. And so everybody as a whole is just kind of tired. But on the other hand, like everyone has been cooped up in their house for a year, and they're all trying to go out at the same time. So it's just kind of one of those things. Like, I don't blame for people for wanting to come out. But at the end of the day, it's exhausting.
Um, I know that the kind of a follow-up to that is, you spoke about changes that happened, especially with the mask and reopening of Bloom. Do you think that any of those changes may stay even after this pandemic's kind of over, hopefully with the vaccines and things?
Yeah, there are a couple things that I hope that stay in the industry. One of the very main things that I hope that stays, and this isn't something we deal with at the restaurant that I'm at, but it is something that other restaurants might deal with, other service industries. And that is, if a worker is sick or showing signs of an illness, they're not expected to come to work. Because in the service industry, it really doesn't matter if you're sick or not. You have to show up for your shift. And if you don't get it covered, you're fired usually. Sometimes that's just how it is. And so I really hope one of the main things that happens because of the pandemic in the service industry is if a worker is ill or not well, that they are not just expected to be there no matter what. Luckily, I don't have to deal with that. We're really good about covering each other. And if we're not well, we don't come to work because we don't want to get anyone sick. But I really hope that sticks around in other restaurants. Another thing is reservations. I was able to go to eat in Asheville recently, and you have to make a reservation to go out to eat no matter what, if you're going out to dinner, and you have to do that well ahead of time. And if you break that reservation on the day of, you have to pay a pretty big fee. And I really think that should stick around because especially if it's a small business and you break that reservation, they're expecting you. That's money they could have missed out on. And another thing that I think will stick around is curbside service. People really like curbside. I'm a big fan of curbside. I don't have to get out of my car, but I can support a small business. And I think it's great. And it's a win for the business and it's a win for the customer and for the staff. So I really like the curbside option.
I love it too. I had really bad arthritis. I had my knees replaced a few years ago, and being able to utilize that curbside service has been just the most wonderful thing for me. Because after I've worked all day long, some days like today where it's raining, the knees don't want to work very well.
Right.
And with this newer option that wasn't around before, it's wonderful. I mean, it's just an amazing option. Plus, it keeps people more safe, and you're still, making a profit for the company. I think that's wonderful. Okay, the next question I want to ask is you're a member of the LGBTQ community. So can you speak on your experiences of working in the public facing service industry as a member of the I'm sorry, I messed it up. LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, I can speak on that. I've had good experiences and I've had some not so great experiences. But the good definitely outweigh the bad when it comes to my experience on a day to day. Being a genderqueer person has not really affected my experience working with the public. But if anything, I've been treated differently by employers. Not been able to get certain positions or move up, especially in like a bartending arena, based on how I look. That really has affected me the most. Dealing with the public, I personally haven't had any issues. I can talk to just about anyone, and relate to them on some kind of level, but all of my problems have been with employers.
What, if I can ask this too, what would you like to see changed for employers or maybe future employers? What would you like to see happen so that there's a little bit more equality across the board?
I think one of the biggest things some employers do is judge people from the LGBTQ plus community on how they look. And especially in this area, unfortunately, if you're an employer and you have a super queer looking person that you're trying to put in a bartending position, which is a high sales position, they might be more inclined to just think that that person won't achieve high sales. And that just really isn't the case. It's more based on your skill as a bartender versus how you look. I've known a lot of different bartenders that look a lot of different ways, and it's not always based on looks who brings in the most sales. So I would just like to see that change a little bit in the future.
I think that's a great answer. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
The next, that's awesome. The next question I have is, too often people describe service industry work as low skilled or unskilled labor. But what studies have suggested for some time is that the mistake of low wage labor with low skilled labor. Could you speak a little bit about that dynamic? What sort of skills go unseen that maybe the general public doesn't realize that you do?
Yeah, the service industry particularly is definitely not unskilled. You have to have a lot of different skills to make it. You have to be able to constantly be on your feet. Um, we don't really sit down ever, the whole day, pretty much. You have to be able to really perform under pressure, and be able to still be kind and patient even when you're being treated horribly by someone. So that, you know, you have to be able to like deserve a award for acting pretty much sometimes, because if you're in a bad mood or you have something going on bad in your life, you pretty much just have to not even act like you're not okay. You just have to get on with the day and be kind and do your job. You have to be a master of multitasking. Whether you're a dishwasher, a server, a line cook, a bartender, a host, it doesn't matter. Multitasking is one of the most important skills you have to have in the service industry. And organizational skills are super important. Keeping your area stocked and organized can be make it or break it kind of situation on a busy day. And depending on the job, there's a whole specific list of skills you have to make it in the industry. And almost all of these are unseen or not talked about.
I agree with you. I think the biggest thing, though, is what you talked about, where literally your whole life can be falling apart, but you have to put on this mask almost and go out and wait on customers and make them feel good and have a good experience, even though your life itself may be in just the pits of hell. You
Mhm.
still have to get past that and go out there and help people. So I appreciate what you do. I'll add that on there. I think that it's a lot. It's a lot of like you said, acting, just to take care of people. The last question I've got for you, I'm pretty excited about. You are also a local artist. So in closing, can you tell me something about what it means to produce art in a small area like Northeast Tennessee?
Yeah, producing art in Northeast Tennessee is just lovely. I've been able to find a great community in this area of artists that support and uplift each other. And every day that community gets larger. As a maker, I don't really have an option. I'm an artist, and that's kind of it for me. Like, I have to be one. But I did choose to move back to this area. And one of the leading factors that helped me come to that decision was the art community. It's just, it's easy for me to find artists to collaborate with and speak with and bounce ideas off of. And one of the greatest resources at this time right now for me, there's a guild called Neo Appalachian Art Guild that I'm a member of. And um, it's all about community, and it's a great place to be an artist.
I think, can I ask you another question? What kind of art do you create?
Um, my art is kind of has changed a little bit lately. I studied fine art, traditional studio art, and I have been a painter and most of my life. But recently I got into illustration and digital art. So my style translated really well digitally. I just kind of broke out into that arena. And it is definitely like a minimalistic illustration style of art.
If anyone is interested in seeing your art, do you have a place they can find it at?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram under lowercase art, all one word.
Awesome. Well, that was my last question for you. I really appreciate your time today and talking with us. And it's been a great interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you. And I appreciate everything you do for our community, from the artwork to working at Bloom. I think that's a wonderful place. And we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much.
You're welcome.